In what way does your media product use, develop, or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? For my A2 coursework, I made a digipack and a magazine advert based on the music video I also created, which was Bastille's Glory from their album Wild World, which came out in 2016, and comes under the pop alternative genre. Therefore, I found it relatively straightforward on the conventions that are used in real media products, as they are quite clear and generic. However, I also wanted to conform to the band's conventions, as I wanted it to flow with the rest of their media products and look as authentic as possible. At the beginning of the music video, I decided to include footage of a concert marquee in a pan-up wide shot that says Vivo presents Bastille, as it follows a typical convention of music videos where a production company or publishing company would be mentioned in the video, and also adds to the authenticity of the music video. In terms of camera, music videos typically incorporate a variety of shots, such as wide shots, establishing shots, mid shots, close-up shots, extreme close-up, as well as camera movements such as focus pull, pans, and tilts. By using these, it helps to create emphasis on emotions or locations, which help the audience feel something. I followed a few of these camera movements as I wanted my audience to feel something when watching my music video, whether it was being sad, confused or worried, because it would suggest to me that I have created a successful product and that I could emphasise the emotions the lyrics are evoking. For my establishing shot, I decided to open my music video by introducing the protagonists. To introduce the first protagonist, there is a panning shot panning right where the protagonist is introduced sleeping in her bed, and then followed by a cut to another pan shot panning down from a street light to where the next protagonist is introduced as she is sitting on the curb on her phone. Essentially, these panning shots invite the audience into the music video. Later on in the scene, the two protagonists get into a car, which is shown in a back and forth medium long shot, followed by a close-up shot of one of the protagonists placing a CD into the CD drive of the car. However, the CD is actually there for product placement, as it is the album that the song is from, therefore the music video acts as a dual purpose. This is a trait that is very common in music videos. For example, from watching around 50 music videos to gain inspiration and ideas that I could include in my music video, I noticed that in Lady Gaga featuring Beyoncé Telephone music video, it was heavily filled with product placement. For mise en scene, there aren't any set-in-stone conventions for music videos, as they vary, but a running theme tends to be makeup and costumes being essential in creating an aesthetically pleasing music video for the viewer. In terms of outfits for the characters in my music video, I decided to dress them in casual clothing, as the audience would find it easier to relate to the characters, as they are perceived as ordinary and just like everyone else. I chose to have two female characters, as the characters themselves had a youthful and innocent look, which I thought was important as the lyrics contain representations of naivety. Rather than representing females as sexual or for the male gaze theory, as Laura Mulvey would suggest, which is something that you would find in a lot of music videos as it attracts more attention, however I did not choose to follow that convention, as I wanted the female protagonist to keep a youthful look and it would not be necessary for the nature of my music video. Goodwin stated that a music video is an extension of lyrics. This can be incorporated through a narrative music video. The whole idea of a narrative music video is to send messages to the audience, which is exactly what I intended to do with my own music video and follow that convention. I did this in a variety of ways. For example, there is a cut to a tracking shot taken from a bird's eye view of a lit up city, which is there to not only link the lyrics at the time of the shot, with the quote, "looking up for heaven," but also because it is there to represent that there are a lot of people in the world, all with plans and dreams, yet not all can come true, and as an individual you are minuscule in terms of the whole world. I decided to introduce the use of sparklers in the music video, with a close-up shot of a sparkler being lit up, followed by wide medium shots of the protagonists playing around with them as the sparklers were used to represent hope despite the lyrics interpreting a different idea and being a binary opposite. The Enigma theory by Roland Barthes can be applied to my music video, as the props and scenes that I used, as well as the whole idea of my music video, has a deeper meaning than what is shown on the surface, so it leaves the audience wondering what is happening, or why a certain prop is used, as there are many interpretations, which is a common feature in the conventions of a typical Bastille music video. I used the sparklers to link onto the main part of my music video, in which halfway through I decided to include a scene where one of the characters from my video would get hit by a car. Now, in order to do this, representation was vital, as realistically I could not create an actual car crash scene, so instead I inserted long shots of a car coming closer and a close-up shot of the change in facial expressions from the character, all happening in slow motion. As well as a sparkler falling down in a wide close-up shot and slowly burning out, which is used to represent the life of the character and how the crash has caused her to die. This is then followed by a panning shot of the road with red and blue flashing police lights reflected onto it, which when put together represents to the audience that there was a car crash without having to actually show footage of the car hitting the character or the aftermath or injuries. This was important as my music video allows the audience to create their own representation of what actually happened in it. As after the car crash scene, I decided to reverse the music video back to the beginning where one of the characters are laying in bed and suddenly wakes up and looks around their room. This allows the audience to interpret whether the car crash was real or just a dream and have their own representation of the video, rather than having it set in stone with only one possible representation, hence why enigmas are typically used in narrative music videos, which is why I also decided to do it. In terms of editing, typical editing conventions that tend to be used are jump cuts, as it allows a sudden change from one scene to another. Similarly, transitions such as fade and dissolve are very common in music videos as they create a different effect to cuts. I decided to follow the convention and primarily use jump cuts editing all my footage on Adobe Premiere. By using jump cuts, it meant I could alternate between different locations effectively. For example, at the beginning of the music video, where I alternated between a shot of one of the protagonists in bed and another shot of the other protagonist outside. By using jump cuts, I also had to be wary of cutting to the beat of the song, as it allows a more consistent and smooth cut. Once I had cut all the footage to how I wanted it, I used colour grading with my clips so that they would interlink with each other and be aesthetically pleasing, which is a convention that is typically used with music videos. Overall, I believe that I have followed and developed typical conventions of real music videos with my own music video, as I have incorporated the messages from the lyrics with my narrative and also used camera shots and movements that work effectively. The enigma of what happens at the end of my music video develops real music video forms and conventions, as it allows the audience to create their own interpretation of what happened in the music video. The second product I created was my magazine advert. When creating my magazine advert, I knew roughly how I wanted it to look like and what conventions I wanted to use. As being a consumer of real magazine adverts, the magazines I read are a similar genre as the song I chose for my music video of Glory by Bastille, so I knew what kind of things attracted an audience. The first convention that I used was having the band's name in a font larger than all the other text on the advert. This is because if the audience sees the band name, it attracts them to the advert, especially if they are a fan of the band. Followed by this, the second largest font was the name of the album, as it suggests to the audience that there is a new album out, so if they were a fan of the band or not, the audience knows that the band have a new album out. Another convention I used was by including ratings from reputable publishing magazines such as Q and NME, as it would grab the audience's attention and, importantly, their trust. Other typical conventions I used were having the publishing logos on the album, different formats the album was available in, as well as the band's website and social media. The actual image used for my magazine advert was a bird's eye view of a lit up city, which I used across the magazine advert, digipack and music video. As from research, I found that having a consistent image results in the audience to instantly recognise and connect the link between different products. The main reason I chose to use a photo of a lit up city rather than of the band was because I wanted to follow typical conventions of a Bastille magazine advert, as they don't tend to include photos of themselves, but rather scenery. The final product I created was a digipack. When creating my digipack, I wanted to continue the same theme and styling of the magazine advert so that all the products link together, making it identifiable by the audience, hence why the style of pictures are all very similar, and the front cover is the same as the magazine advert, which again conforms to typical conventions of Bastille digipack. I chose to create a 6-page digipack as it is a typical amount of content you would find on a real digipack, such as 5 Seconds of Summer's self-titled album. One of the most conventional features I included was the tracklist at the back of the digipack, which informs the audience on what songs are on the CD. I made sure that the singles were at the beginning of the tracklist so that it would attract the audience to listen to the CD, as they may have heard the singles already. Another feature that is commonly used is including a thank you page, which is from the band to the person who purchased the album, such as a fan. By including this, it creates a closer relationship between the band and the audience. These are all ways that my media products use, develop and challenge forms and conventions of real media products.